Our speaker this morning is Dagg. Kiersten is a four-year student from Warriors-Ford, PA. She's a co-captain of the varsity swimming and diving team and a member of the varsity girls water polo team. She's a proud roommate of Emma Lewis. Kiersten.
For as long as I can remember, I always wished my life could be different. This is not a rare occurrence for most people. There are always things that we desire to change about our lives. It is almost as if nothing will ever be perfect, and we are always striving to adjust every little aspect. When I was little, I loved to make up perfect situations in my head about the life I would live. From the moment that my alarm would go off to the second my head hit the pillow to go to sleep, I created assumptions about what my day would look like. I would wake up to my identical twin sisters and parents. From that point on, I expected that my day would be filled with conversations with my sisters and spontaneous trips to stores. Family dinner only consisted of laughter and uninterrupted conversations. Afterwards, we would sit down for a family game night where my sisters and I would laugh so hard that my parents would kick us out of the living room. This was everything I imagined my family would be like. However, this scenario is far from it. One of the biggest obstacles that life throws at us are comparisons. When I hear the word comparison, I think about differentiations between people. It is not hard to believe that everyone compares themselves in one way or another. How could we not? We always want what other people have. I wish I looked like her, or he's so smart, I could never be as intelligent as him, are common comparisons we hear on a day-to-day basis. What people don't talk about are the comparisons you deal with outside of the Hill School bubble. Outside of Hill, my family life is very different from most. As I mentioned before, I live with my twin sisters and parents. My sisters, Cindy and Danielle, have special needs. They have a very rare disability called polymicrogyria. It is a condition that occurs when the brain develops too many small folds, causing developmental disabilities and a variety of behaviors. The term special needs is very broad. There are many types of needs that mean different things for each person. Because of the wide range of severeness within certain needs, many people have trouble understanding what it means for my sisters. Cindy and Danielle are 15 years old. However, their disability prevents them from living a normal 15-year-old life. It is extremely hard for them to read, write their name, talk in full sentences, differentiate colors, brush their teeth, the list goes on. They do not even know that I am standing here in front of you all talking about their disability. Aside from their developmental delays, they struggle with a multitude of behaviors. They often lash out when their needs are not met by crying, screaming, and hitting. Growing up with my sisters and learning how to navigate their disability was hard. My life never felt normal because there were so many things my family could not do that others could. As hard as I tried to ignore the fact that my life was far from perfect, it was unavoidable. I internalized every little thing my sisters did and began resenting them for their actions and comparing my family to other families. No matter the time nor place, everything with them is a constant battle. One wrong move and they act like the world is shattering into a million different pieces. One thing I always dreamed of doing was getting dressed up to go out to a nice family dinner. The thought of all 5 of us piling into the car, scrambling to make it in time for a reservation, was a scenario that ran through my head. I quickly found out that this fantasy was impractical. It was near the end of our beach trip, and I suggested that we go out to dinner. When I asked my parents, they became very hesitant to say yes because of my sister's needs. Cindy and Danielle are unable to sit still for long periods of time, especially out in public. Their disability causes their mind to wander elsewhere, making it hard for them to behave. However, my parents always tried their hardest to make my life feel normal. Instead of shutting down the idea of a family dinner out at a restaurant, they said yes. So we ventured to our first family dinner, hoping that my sisters would be on their best behavior and not cause a scene. When we walked into the restaurant, the hostess greeted us with a warm, welcoming smile. "How many?" she asked. My dad responded with 5. Hearing the number 5 come out of his mouth was something I never thought I would hear. For my whole life, the answer to that question was always 3. We followed our hostess to the table that was located at the center of the restaurant. Being a Friday night in the middle of summer, the restaurant was crowded. It took forever for our waitress to ask us for our order and even longer for the food to come out. As I sat there patiently waiting for the food, my sisters were having a hard time understanding where we were and what we were waiting for. Their legs picked them up as they tried leaving the table to talk to other guests. Look, a bird. Come see, were the words that came out of their mouths as they tried grabbing others' hands to show them the seagull sitting on the bench and the water in the bay. More often than not, these strangers that my sisters were talking to would not give them the time of day. It was heartbreaking to see a grown man or woman roll their eyes at my sisters as if there was something wrong with them. The constant stares and disgusted looks are something I held on to. Beyond the fact that they would run up to strangers, they had a desire to go to the bathroom or ask to play on the playground that was located outside of the restaurant. Each time they tried to do any of this, my parents quickly said no. The word no is something that my sisters cannot hear, especially multiple times. I watched as their faces turned from beaming with excitement to contorted with rage and exasperation. As a result, Cindy and Danielle threw themselves on the ground in a fit. Their screams echoed throughout the restaurant, and they kicked anything in sight. I watched the stress arise in my parents as they jolted out of their chairs to calm my sisters down. It was hard to calm them down in an atmosphere filled with strangers because they sought out attention. Cindy and Danielle fought my parents and continued to shriek as they tried to pick them up. In this situation, I was frozen. Nothing I could say or do would change my sisters' behaviors. It would only make it worse. So I sat in the restaurant, absorbing their behaviors. Their actions were something you had to accept, but internally, I struggled to undertake this part of my sisters. While we were walking out of the restaurant, I looked at my sisters and only felt embarrassed, not for them, but myself. Every bad behavior my parents and I prayed would not take place occurred. I knew that what happened at the restaurant was not their fault. Their disability causes them to act in uncontrollable ways. As much as I told myself that they can't control their actions, I could not believe it. I did not understand what I did to be put into this family situation. Every part of me loved my sisters, but I resented the way their actions made me feel. I internalized every stranger's judgmental glare and my sisters and decided that it was my fault that my family was like this. I let myself be defined by my sister's disability. Once I realized that my life is always going to be challenging, comparisons started to swarm my brain, making me think badly about my sisters. I saw other families sitting in the same restaurant, laughing and having a good time. Why can't my family do this? Why can't I have regular sisters? At the time, I could not answer these questions, but as I grew and had more experiences, the answer became clear. Flash forward a few years, I started my third form year at the Hill. As my parents and I drove through the gates and entered campus, I was excited to start a new chapter of my life. Walking into orientation and meeting all the other students in my form was nerve-wracking. Everyone had a life before Hill that was unique towards them. No one knew that I had sisters with special needs. Part of this new start was refreshing. I had the opportunity to not define myself by my sister's needs. While I went to school each day, I devoted most of my time to studying, friends, and swimming. What I left out was time for my sisters. I rarely saw them because of the rigorous amount of schoolwork and late nights spent at school. When I did see them, it was hard for us to bond. Part of me did not want to bond with them because I knew it wouldn't be the same bond that most people have with their siblings. This was another comparison that flooded my brain. I looked at other siblings on Hill's campus and realized that I would never be able to have my sisters attend high school with me, let alone have a regular conversation with them. They were never able to come to swim meets to cheer me on like other siblings could because they cannot sit still. Each day, I found something new to compare my family situation to, whether that be to other students or situations out in public. The hardest part about these negative thoughts was knowing that my sisters looked up to me as their biggest role model. They admired me as if I was the most amazing person in their life, but I looked at them and found it so hard to think the same. I always called them my best friends, but deep down, I knew that wasn't true. My mind was so blocked by comparisons surrounding their disability. However, I strongly believe that people are put into your life for a reason. While I could stand here today and tell you all about the struggles I faced with my sisters, that would not be beneficial. The hardship I face each day with my family has only helped me grow into the person I am today. Everyone experiences hardships throughout their life. Some are worse than others, but that does not mean you are any less of a person because of what you are going through. Instead of viewing my sister's disability with disgrace, I started to view it with beauty. It was and still is not always easy, and it most definitely did not happen overnight. However, they have so many attributes that I wish I cherished more often when I was younger. Their smile has the ability to light up a room, and their laugh is beyond contagious. They view everyone with beauty, and it is nearly impossible for them to see the bad. Each morning when I wake up at home and they hear my bedroom door open, they sprint as fast as their legs can move right into my arms and smother me with hugs. Danielle's favorite song is Hallelujah, and Sydney loves singing Let It Go from Frozen in her Elsa costume. Their faces light up when a $1 bill falls out of their birthday card, and they love dogs. You seriously cannot keep them away if a dog is within 15 feet of them. Overall, they hold so much joy in their hearts for others. These are only a few of their hundreds of amazing qualities. What I learned to realize is that they may appear different from other 15-year-olds, but these characteristics make Cindy and Danielle who they are. Comparisons have the ability to play a detrimental role in your life. It is easy to lose focus on what really matters when all you do is compare your life to others. Looking for the positives within my sister's disability changed me as a person and showed me that it is okay to have a different family. While I wish I could look up in the stands and see my sisters at my swim meet or take them around campus for their revisit day at the Hill, I would not change their disability for the world. Everything I imagined my family to be like when I was younger changed for the better. Maybe we can't have family dinners or board game nights all the time, but we have our own unique ways of making our family special. I could ask myself the same question 100 times. Why can't I have regular sisters? And each time I would get the same answer. I will never truly know why I was chosen to be the big sister of twins with special needs. I do know that it was one of the best things that could have happened to me. Every moment with Cindy and Danielle teaches me something new, and I'm forever grateful to have people like them in my life. I encourage you all to look for the beauty within your hardships. It is never going to be easy to refrain from making comparisons when you're constantly surrounded by people that make every aspect of their life look perfect. However, how you view your hardships and turn them into a learning experience will empower you and give you a new view on life. You may discover that your hardships are a blessing in disguise, just like I did with my sisters. Without Cindy and Danielle, I would not be the person I am today. Thank you.